Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is about that time. Keep your hands up and keep your head on a swivel. The Haymakers and Submissions podcast is here. We woke up and chose violence today. Stick and stay for combat sports talk at its finest, coming your way now. Welcome, everybody, to Haymakers and Submissions, the podcast. My name is Drew, and I'm joined by Chops. We're ready to talk some combat sports.
Come on, brother. You know, I look forward to this, man. I look forward to this, Jack. Yeah, man. And it's in boxing, we've got a lot of stuff signed. We have a lot of potentials that could look real good in this year. You know what I mean? So, well, before we get into that, man, you know, of course, my Steelers took it in the teeth. I mean, I was being a homer, hoping they could go in to Baltimore to still a win, because I understand they finished on a 4-game skid. I get that. The Ravens finished strong. I get that. You know what I mean? But you know how it is when you play a conference rival, a tough conference rival, records out of the window. You know what I mean? Schedule it doesn't matter, because we're getting punched in the mouth, and whoever comes out wins. You know what I mean? So I thought really we could get in there. But when I just watched what my Steelers did, no effort, no emotion, just came out flat, I was like, what are you doing, fellas? And I love my Steelers. I love them enough to be honest about them. Things got to change. Things got to change. You know what I mean? So I'm big on that. When I say love somebody, love something enough to be honest about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
they remind me of another sport, the Detroit Red Wings in hockey, when they had that 25-year playoff streak. It's great, but you knew the last 5 years of that, it's like you're treading water. You're barely squeaking into the playoffs, but you're making it, and then you're getting bounced in the first round for the most part. It's like, I get being afraid to change because it may become a rebuild real quick.
Yeah.
You got to trust yourself at the draft board, and you got to trust yourself, in free agency.
But and it's funny you say that about rebuilding and what change it could bring. Think about this, and I said it jokingly, but the more I think about it, it is real, and I've been saying it for a while. The Steelers are still doing things the way they used to back in the 70s, okay? Since the 70s, everything's changed. Think about it, man. Even water has changed. Fruit water, you know what I'm saying? Flavored water, alkaline water, spring water, all that's changed, and the Steelers are staying the same. You have to have growth. You have to have movement. You know what I mean? And it's that bothers me. I love my Steelers. I'm always going to be a Steeler fan. I'm a homer. But man, Lou, it's been rough at times, man. Now again, the Steelers sporting my gear, Pittsburgh, whatever have you. I love them, but it's rough at times. I got to keep it a buck straight up and down like 6 o'clock, man. It's hard. It's rough. It's rough, man. So we'll see, and then
I can relate a little bit.
What's that, man?
I can relate a little bit as I'm a Lions fan,
man. And it's funny because on our other podcast, I talked about your Lions and Dan Campbell because it's bothering me. It pisses me off. The Steeler adage is guys love playing for Tomlin. I said, stop saying that. No, they don't. And here's why. If your wife, your best friend, if they call you at any time, you'll be there. You'll show up, right? You don't have to win every game for Tomlin, but you must show effort. You must show fire, right? If everybody can't run a 4.340, everybody can finish the race, whether you're crawling, running, whatever that's effort. You know what I mean? I saw a lack of effort. Your boy Dan Campbell has guys on his team that are getting minutes now in the last 4 or 5 games that 2 weeks ago were FedEx drivers sitting on the couch.
Yeah.
And these guys are still winning. Those guys want to play for Campbell. They're showing up. They're giving it all. They're putting it on the line. All I'm asking for is effort. Come on, man. We love combat sports. We realize the nature of the beast is you're not going to win everything, but I need to see effort. You know the saying in our sports and boxing, finish on, go out on your shield, finish standing up, whatever, just you want to finish. You want to see that final bell. Win, lose, or draw. You never give in a towel. You want to see that final bell. And I just don't see that desire from, and I'm talking about Minka, you know what I mean? Whatever have you. I'm just seeing, and there's other veterans on the team, but as a unit, I'm just not seeing the desire. So don't tell me you want to play for Tomlin. I love playing for you. I want to play for that man. But in the big games, you guys don't show up. That's where, you know, it's you know the old saying, like I said, it's hard for me to believe what you say because I see what you do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and that's where your boys are playing for Tomlin, man, or Tomlin for Campbell. They are, man.
But there's you know, and that's another podcast, I guess. But their coaching staff is just loaded. I mean, Glenn Johnson, you got Antoine Randall, Calvin Shepard, Hank Fraley. I mean, Mark Brunell. These guys are all. I mean,
yes,
they're
played in the league. Played in the league.
Scotty Montgomery. I mean, these guys are really good.
And I wonder, and it's funny. I mean, again, we're not a football podcast, but I do want to ask on this one. What do you think is the Lions' success? Because there are other teams that have NFL players on their coaching staff, but they're not getting out of their starters. They're not getting, these guys are getting guys that aren't even NFL players, guys that were off, like taking guys off the street and getting them to perform at a high level. You know what I'm saying? So like even the Rams destroyed the Vikings.
Yeah.
Aaron Glenn, he needs to get a Christmas card and a thank you card from the Rams defensive coordinator because he showed the blueprint the week before how to beat them. You know what I'm saying? So and it just but you guys
you had the plan, but shocking that the Lions were able to execute. I mean, it's
exactly. But that's what I'm saying. Guys are listening to coach. Where do we need to be? We're in position. They're giving effort. They're being where they're supposed to be. Yes, they may miss tackles. They may get ran by on a guy, but they're where they're supposed to be because he just may not physically have the skill set to match up with someone, but they're giving effort. That shows me you want to play for someone.
It's a perfect storm, too, because you've got a cast-off quarterback who was traded away. You have your top receiver was a 4th-round draft pick.
Yes.
And he remembers every name in order of every receiver picked before
him. Yes, man. That is the drive to want to be there.
Yeah. That
is the drive. You know what I'm saying? And you can't teach that. You can't coach that. Either it's in you or it isn't. You know what I mean? Either it's in you or isn't. And I'm quite sure you heard it. Like I do more MMA than you do. We're like boxing, hitting the bag, sparring. Mm-hmm. And I've had guys, years when I was into it more when I was a younger man, you want to spar? Let's spar this, that, whatever. And they may spar half a round or go through the entire training that day, but never come back. I'm like, you didn't come back, this, that, whatever. They couldn't take getting hit in the face. You know what I mean? And they're like, how do you like that? How do you take it? No one likes getting hit in the face. No one, if you have any brain cells, nobody likes getting hit in the face. But you realize it's nature of the beast. It's what you have to do. You know what I mean? It's what you have to do.
Yep.
And that's what I see your lines. They're the O coordinator, D coordinator, D line. They're putting schemes in place, and your guys are executing. They're following it, and they're showing they want to be there. And that's just thing, man. But it was rough for me to watch my Steelers go down that way. Just give up 300 yards rushing. That was rough, man. That was real rough. So we'll see what's on. Oh, it's on, man. So here we go. You guys are hosting? You guys hosting a game this week?
Yeah, the Commanders.
You got the Rams.
No, I'm glad we don't. It's the Commanders.
Who do you have?
Well, it's Washington. I'm not glad
that's right.
It's a lesser team because Washington actually I think is a better team.
The Rams are hot.
I'll be honest with you, it's not even that. It's the Stafford drama. That's stressful shit. I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, because you don't want to lose to the guy. It's like, okay, we traded him away. He gets his ring. He's coming back. Is he going to dash their hopes and actually win a playoff game again, but this time against the Lions? I know he won the Super Bowl, but no.
And the crazy part about it is how perception rules the world, right? Perception rules the world. Your boy Darnold caught a lot of flack for his last 2 games against your Lions and against the Rams, okay? And he looked terrible in the playoff game. He's done. He can't make any money. And they're talking about, he's going to be back on the whatever. Okay. However, Justin Herbert has been in 3 meaningful games, 2 playoff games in his career, and he's come up every time. But the perception is Darnold's done, where they give Herbert the keys to the Trans Am. You know what I'm saying? And I'm saying that to say, like, Stafford is perceived as he's all world and he gets so many accolades, whatever have you. Even when they won the Super Bowl, he led the league, which he always does quite often, in turnovers. They won that Super Bowl in LA because of the defense, not because of him that year, but quarterback gets the right. You know what I mean? And to be honest with you, when you guys traded for and got Goff, everybody's like, oh, the Rams got the better of the deal. The Rams got the better of the deal. I don't believe that. The Lions with Goff were the exact same place they were for the first year or two as they were with Stafford.
Yeah.
And Goff took the Rams to the Super Bowl. He lost to Brady. No shame there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So to me, that was, and I just think perception rules the world, and Stafford gets, and everywhere, oh, he's the man. I don't see it that way, but I can get where you're coming from with he left Detroit. I get it.
Now, I mean, maybe it'll happen down the road because they're going to Philly. Who knows? But we'll see. That's a tough place to play.
Yeah, extremely. Me being from the state of Pennsylvania and being in Veterans Stadium before, I mean, when it was old and whatnot, when they had the terrible turf and what it was, bro, you don't understand it. I remember being there when there was a gap, maybe 8-9 inches in the field, like the turf they had set up, and people are like, we can't play here. Philly's the first place to ever put in a jail. Philly fans are ridiculous. So it's going to be rougher, and it's going to be cold too. It's going to be cold.
Very, very.
Yeah, it's going to be something, man. It's going to be something. But hey, let's get on to something, man, because we'll talk about this all day.
All right. You got some MMA stuff to talk about, man. What do we got going this week?
Man, we have UFC card 311. Now, a lot of people, how can I say this? It's not the huge names who, I don't want to say novice, but it's not a lot of big names. You'll hear the name Nurmagomedov, but a lot of people think about that with Khabib. However, you have a couple other guys that are from his camp that are fighting on this. You have I believe it's his cousin, Umar Nurmagomedov. You have Islam Makhachev, these Dagestan wrestlers who it's ridiculous. You had Khabib, you had Islam, you had Umar Nurmagomedov, and there's one other one. I can't think of who it is. There's 4 of them. And between the 4 of them, their MMA record is 91-1. The only one guy that had a loss is Islam, who is now the champ at light heavy, or at lightweight, at 155. However, his fight, he was winning when he lost back in 2015 or something like that, and he just got clipped. And he's been rolling ever since. You know what I mean? So these Dagestani wrestlers are no joke, man. I mean, no joke. So this card 311, it's not a huge card in the aspect of the big names where it could be a John Jones, you know what I mean? Or it could be a Tony Ferguson or some of the bigger names that the guys may know, or, Pereira, whatever have you. But skill set wise and guys that like combat, this is a card from the first fight on the pay-per-view and some even the undercards. But the pay-per-view, those 5 fights, every last one of them you're going to want to see. Every last one. Real quick, let's start with, we have Kevin Holland versus Rene de Radier, right? Now, Rene has come from, I think, the one championship. He's fought at light heavy, middleweight, and light heavy, and won belts at both. So he's like that.
Okay.
He is a black belt in jiu-jitsu and judo. So once he locks you up, he's at home. Yeah. He can throw you or he lock you out, take that, snap, tap, or what, what I'm saying? It's up to you. Kevin Holland is also a black belt in jiu-jitsu. And I would say Holland has more of a toolbox, as that's a tool we use, because his stand-up is significantly better, hands and feet. They're both black belts in jiu-jitsu. Now, Radier may be a whisker better in his jiu-jitsu, but his stand-up is nowhere near Holland's. So that's where I'm saying that Holland has the better skill set. You know what I mean? But Holland likes to prove he's such a great fighter. He fought 2-3 years ago, and I know you've seen the commercial. It's Kevin Holland and Wonderboy Thompson, right? Stevie Wonderboy. and it's a ad for, I want to say it's for vodka. Is it for vodka? Or I'm not sure. I'm not even sure. I don't know if it's vodka or what it is. However, but they're in the ring and they're talking and they're fighting. He says, "Hey, I'm having a party. You coming?" He says, "Yeah." "Can I bring anything?" "Bring limes." And they bring ice and they're both holding a cup or whatever, right? So, having said that, when he fought Wonder Boy has no ground game, none. He can strike with anybody. He's an awkward style. So Kevin Holland makes a gentleman's agreement. Basically, I won't take you down. I'll try to fight you standing up. Of course, he lost. He got him. It was a landslide victory for Thompson. And he's done that in other fights where he won't take guys down because he wants to prove how good he is. Bro, we already know you're good. This is the UFC. And Dana White will cut guys quick, fast, and hurry because there's always somebody clamoring for your spot to get in. You know what I'm saying? So having said that, I'm hoping Kevin Holland goes in and does what needs to be done in order to get the fight. He talks a lot of trash during the fight. You know, he can be locked up and talking and you can hear him, and he's a showman with it. But he does have a great skill set, but he gets in his own mind. He gets in his feelings. You know what I mean? So I wish he wouldn't do that. This one is going to be close. I would love to say Kevin Holland, but I'm going to go with Rene de Radier only because I know what he's coming. He's not, you know what I'm saying? But I really, really, really want to, with my heart, go with Holland, but I think Holland's going to get inside himself and mess up. Then we're going to have Beneil Dariush versus Renato Moicao, right? If I'm pronouncing it right, Money Moicao. He calls himself Money Moicao, right? And these are two veterans. Both guys are 34, 35. And it's going to be a good one. It will be a good one. Both of these guys are weighing in. It's a small man's card, right? It's a small man. Holland and Renier have 185. Everybody else on this is 155, right? 155. So, and I believe, and to be honest with you, it's 155, and there's another one, 155. They're either 155 or 135. So it's a small man's card, but they're coming to bang. So in this one, Dariush and Moicao, it's a pick 'em for me. It really is. I'm going to go with Dariush. I'm really going to go with Dariush. They're both seasoned veterans. They both bring it. I'm just going to go with Dariush on this one. All right. Now, these last three fights on this card, on the main event, everybody knows. And I think that's what people will buy the card for. But I think these other two I went over, you're going to get, a little bit extra, some good cooking on that one. This one, we have Jamel Hill versus Yuri Prochazka. Now, Jamel Hill, 33 years old, 12-2. He held the belt for a little, but he lost it to Pereira, right? He got knocked out by Pereira. There's no shame in that. Alex Pereira is he's nice. He's like that. Now, he also is, I want to say, a black belt in jiu-jitsu, but you don't see his ground game as much because he has nice hands. He's knocking guys out. He doesn't get a whole lot of submissions with tap outs, but he can scramble enough to where you don't get the upper hand on him when he's down on the ground. You know what I'm saying? When he's down. It's almost like Chuck Liddell. Chuck Liddell years ago, the Iceman, was a division or a top wrestler, but he never wrestled. He just waited to hit you with that right hand. But he scrambled enough that if you ever got him down, he was good enough with a scramble to get back to his feet. Where Jamel Hill, even on the ground, is never really out of it, never in trouble. Of course, he knows the jiu-jitsu, but he's always good enough to get up where he wants to get up to strike. So, but now, Prochazka, if anyone doesn't know him, he looks just like a regular white dude. If I put him right beside you, he looks just like you. He was born in Czechoslovakia, right? But he is big. He, 32 years old, 30-5, 35-1. He's with his 5 losses, though. His 2 last losses are also by Pereira. No shame in that, right? But Prochazka, when you look at him, you'll be like, he looks like a weirdo because he wears his hair. If you remember the old Van Damme movie, Bloodsport. Tong Po. Okay, so Prochazka believes in Bushido. He believes in Bushido principles. He believes, and that's like the way of the samurai. So he wears his hair like a samurai. he's been over to Asia and studied samurai. His discipline is Muay Thai. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So where he likes to strike as well as Jamel Hill likes to strike. So, but having said that, when you look at Prochazka, be like, what does this white boy do? Because you think he's just a regular white boy until you hear him talking. And then once you hear him talking with a Czechoslovakian accent, and now this guy is so simplistic. Now, mind you, he has been, and I want to say he also held the belt at 205 for a minute, right?
Okay.
He is in Prochazka, lives in a town near Czechoslovakia where he was born. He's a UFC fighter. So you would think in Czechoslovakia, I don't know the currency rate, but I gotta believe 50 grand here is significantly more than 50 grand there. And again, forgive my ignorance if I'm wrong, but I would like to believe so. He lives in a home that he has electricity, but he has no gas in his house. He has no running water in his house. So he lives by the samurai, like the life of a monk, monastic, or whatever have you know what I mean. So in the way he is in simplicity with his life, but he hasn't let the all the spoils of victor, you know what I mean, so to speak, get to his head. Even though the success he's had, he is still the same who he is. And this is going to be a good fight. And Hill may catch him with some good shots.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to say, I can't even say I'd like to say Jamel Hill, because 12-2 and MMA fights are different than boxing fights, right? Because it can end so fast.
Right.
So, but 14 fights is not a whole lot of experience, right? In his case, it's really not. And he hasn't fought always the toughest guys. He's fought hard guys. They're in the UFC, so they're tough.
Yeah.
But not some of the who's who on his resume. Prochazka is a different breed. And until he ran into Pereira, he was a force in the UFC. He was a force in the UFC. He had some vicious knockouts. I'm going to go with Prochazka. I'm going to go with Yuri Prochazka over Jamel Hill on this one. It could go the distance. I don't see it going the distance. I really don't. Now, and to be honest with you, these last three of the main card, I don't see going the distance. I really don't. Now, this one is almost a grudge match to where the champ, Merab Davishvili. It's hard to pronounce. Yeah. Right? So I'm going to just call him Merab. Okay. Merab is 18-4, right? Yeah. He is a bantamweight. So these cats are weighing in at 135. Mm-hmm. He's going against Umar Nurmagomedov, who is family of Khabib, who is considered the GOAT in a lot of realms. So Umar is 18-0. Okay, he indeed is 18-0. But now having that 18-0, it's not the same as Dishvali's 18-4, right? 18-4. Dishvali is the champ, and he's like, you haven't fought anyone. You're 18-0, but you haven't fought anyone. But he has been pushed up to the ranks. And Dana, I don't know who actually does the rank, but Dana can give a title fight to whomever he wants, being honest with you. You know what I mean? Sure. I'll admit, Umar had beaten his last fight, Corey Sandhagen. Sandhagen's tough. He's tough, so I'm not gonna sleep on that. But when you look at who Dishvali has fought in his last few fights, he beat Sugar Shane O'Malley, who nobody thought he could win. He was at a 6-inch reach advantage just in height alone. That was rough. And everybody thought Sugar Shane at 135 was unstoppable. He beat Henry Cejudo. Cejudo had won Olympic gold in wrestling, right? He beat Jose Aldo. Jose Aldo was considered a GOAT for a while, went 9 years without a loss. Now, he had taken some losses between the time he and Merab had fought. However, Merab still stepping in with him was pretty big, was pretty big. He's also fought in Marlon Moraes. These are, I'm not going to say they're on, but if you take Sugar Shane, Henry Cejudo, Peter Yan, and Jose Aldo, I could easily, the way it's going, Cejudo and Jose, first ballot Hall of Famers in MMA, first ballot. I got to believe Sugar Shane keep going this way will one day be a Hall of Famer. He's got the skill set. And if not, he will go down as one of the greatest bands of all time. I believe that. So Merab has fought the who's who and come out on top. So his 18 wins are significantly different 18 wins than Umar. So don't get that twisted. Please remember that. And now here's the problem. These Dagestani wrestlers are a different breed. They will go and go and go, and they'll rush you until their heart busts, and then they're going to rush you one more time. You know what I mean? They don't quit because in Dagestan, that is literally all they do. They don't drink. They're Muslims, so that they're very strict in their diet. They're very strict in their religious beliefs. They're very strict. So they don't celebrate a win and go out and party. They celebrate a win by going home with family, having prayer and eating and whatever have you. They're the best of the best are in their camps, grinding, drilling every day. You know what I mean? Every day. So I'm still gonna go with Marab on this. Here's the thing that worries me. Marab, and you know this for boxing, he's in his feelings. He's pissed. He's pissed. If you don't control those emotions, they can control you, and you know it. You know it. So that's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about him going out and on that aspect. Umar doesn't have a lot of submissions. He's got 7 out of his 18. He's got 9 finishes, right, out of his 18 wins, 7 submissions. I think Marab will definitely be the stronger fighter, but the skill set Umar brings in, you cannot. But I'm telling you this: if he wins this, he is in Umar. Those Dagestani wrestlers, they're coming. They're here. Screw coming. They're here. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I still like Marab, but just remember the name Umar Nurmagomedov. Because you're normally right now when you hear Magomedov, you think of Khabib. Mm-hmm. But these are his cousin and all these cats. They're bringing up. They're not slouches with the Nurmagomedov name. And then finally, man, as we set up, we got Islam Makhachev versus Arman Sarusian, right? I'm not gonna lie to you, brother. Now, first off, they already fought once. This is a second time. First time, Makhachev won. Like I said, he's only got 1 loss, and he got clipped, whatever, and something, whatever. However, he did beat Sarusian by unanimous decision back in 2019, 2020, something like it. It's been a few years.
Okay.
Yeah. However, Sarusian did take the fight on short notice. Islam 26-1. Arman is 22-3. And since he's been in the UFC, he's been running buckshot through everybody. He really has. Now, having said that, it bothers me because what tricks me up is Sarusian has had some big time wins. He's been in there and he's battled some of the who real quick. Like he just beat Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira beat Poirier. He beat Gaethje. He beat Michael Chandler. Charles Oliveira is who's who in the weight class he's like that.
Yeah.
But Sarusian beat it. It was a close call, but he did get the win. I watched that fight. He did get the win, right? He also beat Darush, right? Who's about to fight a little bit. Benil Darush. He beat him. Here's the thing: Makhachev is a different type of cat. He just really is, man. He just really is. I'm going with Makhachev regardless, but what also is, and his striking is getting better. His and Makhachev's getting better. Arman is significantly the better striker. But as much as he's the better striker, Makhachev's ground game is even that much better than Sarusian's ground game. You know what I mean? So standing up, if Sarusian was a 10, not saying he's perfect, but if he was a 10 and that's the grading scale, Makhachev may be a 7.5, right?
Okay.
Maybe an 8. There's a difference. There's an 8 is greater on the scale from a 10, but there's a difference in their striking. But on wrestling, if Makhachev is a 10, Sarusian's ground game is a 4 compared to Makhachev. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, and Arman was literally, he comes from a family of wealth, drives a Bentley, just done whatever. Now he's been in the pressure cooker, and he's fought some tough guys and come out and dug deep and won. He's done it. So we know he's capable of it. However, he's already talking about after this fight, he doesn't know if he's going to continue to fight. Only 20 some years old, or if he's going to go with his dad and make money. He's all about making money. And I get that. That's great. He's 28. And I get that. You want to make money. and he also said these fighters, that's all they can do. I have options. I can do other things. That's not what, and it's great.
Mhm.
That's not what you want to say when you're about to go in for the fight of your life for a belt. You know what I mean? Against a dangerous opponent. So, and I don't know, it's one of two things. Is it your mind's not in it and you're letting people know I'm here for the paycheck and then I'll get it and I'll move on? Or are you putting in an excuse already? I don't know. So that's it.
So it sounded like.
Yes, but I'm going Makachev on that, man. So you can, just your boy Makachev. I got Dashvili. I got Prohachka. I got Dariush. And I got Rene de Radier. So that's who I got, man. So that's UFC 311. Hope you guys watch it. It's going to be a good one. You may not know all the names, but you want to watch those fights, man. You definitely want to watch those fights.
Sounds awesome. What's the cost on that pay-per-view? A little bit of discount there because not household names, or is it still $80?
No, listen to me. And I think we realized,
and don't play that. Okay,
we are Americans. We love our money. Nobody's giving a deal if they don't have to. You know what I mean? They are not the sheik who we'll get into. This is your $60, brother. Your $60 for this one. Yeah.
Okay.
And it is pay-per-view. No ESPN, no ESPN Plus, pay-per-view all the way.
All right. Well, that'll be exciting. Check that out on Saturday. We're going to jump into boxing, the world of boxing yet again here. Not talking about any specific fights, but just some issues that have come up. There's a few fights, but we're not going to deep dive, I should say, any specific fights. We'll talk about a couple. But, Chops, let's talk about this. What a shock. Tyson Fury puts out a video out of his car a couple of days ago, and he says he's retired. He's had a great career. He's got a good life, and he's gonna keep rolling with that. Do you buy it, or is this a cash grab?
Okay. First off, when you started, you said how shocked you were that he retired, right?
I was laughing.
Yeah. And like you said, and which helped me realize it, and I'd seen it, but I didn't think about it literally until you just said it. He did it from his car. With your place in heavyweight boxing, with your place in boxing, you deserve better than that for a retirement going. You know what I'm saying? You deserve a press conference. You know what I'm saying? You deserve a press conference to where the media shows up, to where like Eiserman retired. You know what I mean? So when those guys retire, that's what he deserved. So doing it from his car, it's almost like, was he just on his way to the store and he said, you know what, pull over, I'm going to retire real quick. You know what I'm saying? So, okay, number one. Number two, if he needs to do this for a money grab, I don't know who this looks worse on, him or the promoters. And I say that because why would you ever lowball Fury? He's put his time in. You know what he's worth. If this purse is worth 10 million, don't offer him 4. You know what I'm saying? However, and if you know he's worth 10, and I know that number's short change, really, to be honest with you, but say you know he's worth 10 and you offer him 8, you know you're shortchanging him. But that kind of negotiation can be done behind closed doors. You don't need to go this far.
Well, we talked about that last week a little bit because we were speculating could Fury and Joshua fight, and my thinking is he's trying to get as much money out of Eddie Hearn as he can, and then he'll take the Joshua fight. But is the money even going to be there? And you questioned that last week, and I did too. You guys can check it out on our YouTube channel. But it's going to be a huge fight in the UK, no question. It'll be sold out, of course. But will the pay-per-view dollars be there across around the world? Like I said, we'll watch it, but is the average fan going to tune into that fight? I don't know.
Well, you're absolutely right, but let's not forget this is Eddie Hearn. Yeah. If somehow the Sheik can get involved, the money will be there. And I say that because the Sheik doesn't need the money. He's just a pure boxing fan. He loves boxing. So he can give it away for the cheaper price, which would get in turn more buys.
Yes, it
will. Now the trick is, could you get him to do it in Vegas? And I say that because we've seen all the guys in Vegas, whatever have you, but it's tricky because we as Americans like to think that Vegas is the end all be all. But the Sheik and all those guys say, hey, we can put on a nice boxing event over here too. You know what I mean? So he may be offended if someone even asked him to move it to Vegas. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know, man.
But think Vegas is in play. I really don't. I think it's Wembley Stadium or it's going to be in Riyadh.
Yes, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But I was thinking because again, us being narcissistic Americans thinking everything revolves around us, we're wondering, well, can it sell over here in the States? You know what I mean? So I was thinking if they put it in Vegas, maybe that might help it. But again, that's narcissistic for us because, like I said, the Sheik doesn't need it. Eddie Hearn probably couldn't and didn't offer the money the Sheik would or could if he got into it. So yes, on the second part of it, I believe it's a money grab. I don't believe it should be. You've made more money than God. What are you doing? You know what I'm saying?
I know.
But on the second hand, no, I don't believe his retirement. And here's also the thing. Why doesn't the media call him out? Why even he released the video, but why even write an article? He retired. And if you want to, should have been Fury retires. Again, do we believe him? And that's the end of the story. You know what I'm saying? Because we give this credence to, and it's almost like the boy who cried wolf. What are we doing here?
Well, Eddie Hearn called it out. He did.
Yes, he did.
Not inappropriate. I thought he said it I thought it was actually somewhat classy. He said either he's looking for more money or he's sincere. He goes, if he's sincere, he deserves it. He gave him his props. You know what I mean? But he did say if he's looking for more money, that could have a possibility.
But you know what? Also, like you said, he was respectful with it. Mm-hmm. That's what also bothers me. These guys punch each other in the face for a living, and you'd be offended. Not you as in Drew, but people would be offended if Eddie Hearn just said, this is a money grab. That's the only reason he's doing. You know what I'm saying? So he had to make it respectful because a guy that's 280 pounds gets punched in the face is okay, but his feelings can be hurt if you call him on his bullshit. You know what I'm saying? That was like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? So, and I'll be honest with you, man. I think it is a money grab, but there may be better fights out there than Fury and Joshua, because we don't know. We know Fury's not knocking anybody out, and we know what he's going to do. He's going to dance. He's going to try to use his telephone pole arms as a reach. He's not getting grimy. He's not going to beat anybody up. That's not him. And Joshua, we don't know what Joshua we're going to get. Think about this. Think about the last fights Joshua's looked good against an Ngannou, who's not a boxer. Mm-hmm. Against Ruiz in the second fight, who was, not to be funny, out of shape. You know what I'm saying? So we don't know which Joshua we're going to get. So, but there are some other guys out there, and I'll also throw some of these names out after, we get down, we get down, after we go through some more. But real quick, if it is a true retirement, which I find hard to believe because also everything Fury does, he does in spectacular fashion. Think about how we enter the ring. His dad in press conferences, he's loud, he's vocal. For him to just retire in the front seat of his car, nah, brother. He would have announced he might have done it in front of Buckingham Palace. You know what I'm saying? A press conference. So no, I don't buy it. I don't buy it. I don't buy it.
I'm with you. But if he is retired, who's Joshua got next? We got a few names up there. Parker, Zhang, but Coley. Caballo, who I'm not that familiar with, to be honest with you. I haven't seen him a lot. I know the name. I haven't seen him a lot, but certainly Bacoli's been a hot name, and Zhang, Father Time, the clock's ticking, and Joseph Parker, he's obviously got the fight with Dubois coming up. So I don't know. What do you think, Chops?
Well, first off, we got Ziel Zhang and Cabal coming up on that 22nd card. So one of those guys would rule themselves out regardless, okay? And Dubois and Joseph Parker are on that card, right? So I get it. If Parker were to lose, because if Parker wins, he's gonna have to go for Fury. Or not Fury, Usyk, right? If Parker loses, then you've got a great rematch in Dubois and Usyk, but I'd like to see if he can't go out. He can't look terrible. He's got to look good, Joseph. Even if he loses, he's got to go out, on a good performance. But I'd like to see Joseph Parker and Joshua. You know what I'm saying? Because you've got these bigger punchers. Joshua has all the skill set, but the mind and body, it's not always in tune. It's not always in tune. So I'm always going to want to watch an Anthony Joshua fight, only to see which one shows up. But I never go into an Anthony Joshua fight. Whoo, buddy, get your popcorn ready because I don't know which one is showing up. You know what I'm saying? So, but with that, like I said, when we go back, who his potential guys would be on that aspect, man. A couple of these guys are going to take themselves out of it. You know what I mean? They're going to take themselves out of it because if Zhang, whoever wins Zhang or Cabile, I think you could set that up for the end of the year or late, October maybe, or late December, whoever you wanted, against Joshua. You really could. If Fury can't decide if he's going to shit or get out the pot, whatever you want, you know what I'm saying? You could do that. Now you also have Joseph Parker and Dubois coming up. The winner's going with Usyk. The winner is getting Usyk, bottom line. So the loser of that one, depending on how it goes. Xiao Zhang, Martin Bacoli. Yeah. Bacoli is a heavy hitter.
That's the guy that if I'm Joshua, I'm avoiding because he's a faster version of Andy Ruiz, and that's bad news.
Yes. And yeah, man, yeah. So Bacoli, nobody's lined up with him, but I'd always love to see him fight. Damn near 300 pounds, and he brings it. He has learned to carry that weight and still be aggressive, knows when to rest. You know what I mean? Not always exciting, but at any time he can drop you one of them bombs. So right now, if we're going with Joshua, if Fury is out, the winner of Kabul and Zhang, you know what I mean? I think that winner, but it all depends because then depending on Zhang and Kabet, if Dubois wins, let me ask you this. If Dubois wins, would you rather see the winner of Xiao Zhang? And man, if you've never seen this get Kabul, he's young, he's built like almost like a bear jaw, like Joshua. You know what I mean? He's got some power. So that, the winner of that, if Dubois wins, that automatically sets up the rematch with Usyk. But the winner of Zhang and Aget that could be Joshua's next opponent if Fury can't get it together.
Well, and then let's say, okay, Fury does and he fights Joshua. The winner of that Zhang fight could have Bacoli.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
There's some options.
Absolutely. Because let's not forget, okay, with this, if Fury and Joshua go, you got Fury and Joshua, right? Yep. Now you're going to have a loser in Zhang and Agit. So one of those guys could fight Bacoli. Bacoli could get the winner of that one. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Bacoli could get the loser of Dubois. There's a lot of there could be some interesting fights on the horizon for this one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and those are the names that are really in the mix right now. Yes. Bigger names. There's a couple others, but they got like Big Baby. He's got to show something in his next fight.
Yeah.
And I think if I'm not mistaken, is he on that Bevo Better Be Of card? I believe he might not be. I shouldn't have said that, but that's such a huge undercard, that fight.
I got to check it out.
I cannot wait to check that one out. But let's talk a little bit about Shakur Stevenson, because we talk a lot about guys like Stevenson and Tank and T.O. and Garcia and Haney, and we're doing a lot of talking. But he's got a hit list out there, and he's got he's got Schofield now. That signed, sealed, delivered. But then he mentioned Lomachenko, and then he mentioned Tank. Is there any realistic shot that he even gets one of those guys after the Schofield fight, assuming he takes care of business with Schofield? Which I think
because Schofield, that could be an interesting fight. And I'm not going to get into it. We'll break it down when it gets closer to battle time. Yeah. But that could be a good fight. And as you know, styles make fights. They're about, I understand they're fighting the same weight class, but they're about mirror images the size of each other. You know what I'm saying? And Shakur, the tactician, Bacoli leaps, he's aggressive, he's a boxer puncher. So it could be interesting. Now, the question was, could he get either one of those guys in the ring? Okay. He, as in Shakur, has to win in spectacular fashion. And if you don't knock Schofield out, you've got to punish him. He cannot look like he's been in a sparring session. He cannot look like he was just doing road work and just sweating. He needs to be battered and bruised. And again, 4 round, they're going to die square. That's not in Shakur's wheelhouse. That's not what he does to his opponents. Because my thing is this. Lomo doesn't need Shakur. And that would be a boring fight because Lomo is a great counterpuncher. He's a great counterpuncher. Shakur doesn't follow you. He doesn't chase you. He doesn't follow. You got to come to him. And honestly, with everything that Lomo has done, Shakur's stock hasn't really risen in year and a half, 2 years.
Oh, it's dropped
Since Lomo has fought. You know what I'm saying? So, and think about it, Tank was going after Lomo, and Tank is a bigger fish than Shakur.
Oh, yeah.
Tank couldn't get Lomo to come out. Why do I think that Shakur would? Unless Shakur wins in spectacular fashion. Now, for Tank, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
If you just win the way you've been winning, what's in it for me? What is in it for me? You know what I'm saying? Because I'm going to follow you. I'm going to chase. You're not going to hurt me. You know what I mean? So could it happen? Yeah. But to be honest with you, I think we'd see him get back, him and fight Zepeda before one of these guys. If he just wins in his normal, regular fashion, I think he'll fight Zepeda before he gets either one of these guys.
That makes a lot of sense.
Definitely before Lomo. I think Lomo's a long shot.
I'll be honest, I'm not sure. In my opinion, I don't know if Loma's going to fight again. It doesn't seem like he wants it because Tank's a big fish. Like there's none bigger, and certainly at 135. I mean,
I know. It could be Tank though. If Tank gets his another, and Tank is signed. Is he signed? No, he's not signed yet. If Tank looks good, gets another early knockout or a vicious knockout, he might be able to get Lomo to fight. To get Lomo to come out of retirement, or not even retirement, because he didn't say he was retired. He just said he was taking time off in 2024. Yeah. He might be able to get Lomo back in the ring mid to late 2025, because that'll definitely be a huge payday. Huge payday.
That would be a huge fight.
Huge payday. Because that's the only thing. Lomo doesn't need it. Well, I don't want to say doesn't need, because every fighter should have a tune-up. You know what I mean? But as long as he's been doing it with the way he dedicates, the way he works, I wouldn't say he needs a tune-up. And for Lomo, there's more to losing a tune-up than ever gain. You know what I'm saying? So I think we'll see for Shakur after this, he handles business. I think we'll see Zepeda before anybody else. And I think Tank and Lomo would happen before Shakur and Lomo.
Oh yeah, makes sense. Perfect.
To me.
Yeah, I don't think Shakur is an option for Loma, personally. I don't think that's an option for.
No. Why would Lomo want it? What's Lomo get?
Not exactly. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's not going to happen. But I like the Zepeda possibility. That's great. Let's talk about Devin Haney. Finally, the lawsuit is dropped, and Garcia agrees to VDA testing. So that means they are very, very close to getting a rematch signed, no doubt, with a rehydration clause, and as well they should. What do you think about this one, Chops?
Well, of course, I'm glad he dropped the lawsuit. Dude, you were catching hell over that lawsuit. You really were. You really were. Now, here's the thing. Did he get him to drop the lawsuit and got us excited over some bubblegum BS? And I say that because you know how fighters can be. Let's talk and let's go back and forth, whatever. We were just talking about Tank. Do you realize Tank and Crawford are beefing in Twitter wars?
Oh, yeah.
Why? You're not even the same way. Why? You know what I'm saying? It's ridiculous. So, but you know how boxing is. They can let's say we'll do lunch, but never do lunch. You know what I mean? Yeah. So yes, I'm glad he dropped the lawsuit. I'm glad they agreed in terms to come to something. We'll just have to see if it happens. The fact that he did the VAVDA, the Voluntary Anti-Doping Association, because they'll test 365 24/7. I never thought he'd go for that. And again, you can say yes now, but seeing that I haven't signed any paperwork, I don't have to go with that. You know what I'm saying? So, because let's not forget, he as in Garcia has been against VADA for a minute. He's been against VADA for a minute. But now, and he was trying to, I think, again, please don't hold me to this. Mm-hmm. I don't know if Garcia was trying to start his own testing lab or invest in one or something of that nature, but he wanted other testing. But let's not forget, in his failed drug test, it went through more than just VADA. He followed multiple tests with different associations. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I will get, me, I get more excited once the paperwork is signed. But even more importantly than that, I need to hear what the stipulations are. What doping agency? Hell, put in a couple if you want. I don't care. Put in a couple doping agencies, and there's got to be a rehydration clause. But I don't think Haney will make that mistake. I think a lot of boxers from here on out may start doing that. We haven't seen as many that we've heard about, but because they made a thing about it because Tank put it in. His team was smart for that.
Mayweather was the first big name fighter, proponent of it
with Pacquiao, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No coincidence. Hey, and you know what? Where there's smoke, there's fire. When that came up, all of a sudden we didn't have a fight for another 5 years.
I know, and I'm worried about that too. Okay, yeah, I'll drop the suit. Now we'll see. Oh yeah, I'll fight you next Tuesday. I'll fight you next Wednesday. You know what I mean? I'll fight you the third. I'll fight you the fifth Tuesday.
Or it's Ryan Garcia saying, "I don't need it. I didn't need it. I can take this guy out." And he's not smart enough to defend my left hook. He's not going to.
No. And we'll see what goes on, man. We'll see. And it's funny because I know I thought Devin Haney was going to hurt him. Remember, Garcia was acting almost mental before the game. Now, I don't know if it was the drugs at him. I don't know, and I'm not going to speculate. However, he didn't make weight. By quite a few pounds, he didn't make weight.
Yeah.
And he disrespected not only by making weight, but then getting caught with PEDs. But Ryan Garcia has not taken the flack, to me, that you would think a boxer would take for getting tested with PEDs. And think about it, man, because of the way Haney fought, handled this after the fight and wanting to press charges, Haney's been the one catching more hell than Garcia, in my mind. Like the bad press, the bad talking, the bad articles. I'm not seeing a lot of those about.
You bring up a great point because this is a guy, like you say, he disrespected the sport. He disrespected the fight, his opponent.
Yes.
And by the way, absolute racist rants all over Twitter.
Yes.
You don't even hear about it.
I know.
I'm like, wait a minute. How's this guy exempt? What? So it does tell you something. This is somebody who obviously isn't following the plan, but the plan is to catapult Ryan Garcia into superstardom. They want him to be there. Otherwise, the media would be destroying him.
Yes. See, now I know I'm a year older than you, but I know I'm a dinosaur. I'm not going to speak for you. I'm a dinosaur in the way I look at sports and the aspects a lot. Number one, you know what I mean? So having said that, like you said, he's building his brand, Garcia, to where anytime he does anything, he's getting clicks. He's doing this, whatever, making money for his brand. Where before, I'm from the guys, meet me in the squared circle. Meet me in the ring, and we'll get it there. Guys are looking at totally different now. Guys don't want to lose their Guys are beefing on Twitter wars, doing everything but in the ring. And he, as in Garcia, is building his brand. Going to be more eyes on him the next time he's in the ring. The next time he's in the ring, he'll get more money than he's had before, right, on a fight.
Oh, yeah.
And think about it. The last fight he had, 2 of the last 3 fights he had, one, we saw him get knocked out by Tank. Then he won a fight, I want to say, between Haney, right? He did fight one, didn't he?
Pretty sure. No, I'm pretty sure.
But it was only a year apart. Maybe he didn't. And then against Haney, you cheated and didn't make weight. And this cat is making money. It's like he's bulletproof damn near. He's not catching the flack that a lot of these other guys are catching. But I'm glad the lawsuit was dropped. I'm not getting excited about anything until I see the damn contract. You know what I mean? And hear the stipulations of it. And I got to believe, I believe right now, Haney has a team drawing up stipulations, and behind them, they got another team drawing up more stipulations to trying to get Garcia to sign on this contract. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Hey, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, without question.
Hey, we brought up that this fight was a possibility on our last show last weekend. Now it looks like it's going to be a reality. Sebastian Fundora and Errol Spence Jr. around April, May of this year. We're not going to dissect this one. Obviously, we only got about 5 minutes. But, Chops, what do you think about this one? Fundora getting Spence back in the ring against an up-and-coming guy in Fundora.
Yes. Well, first off, I want to say Tim Tszyu was Fundora's last fight, and he won it. He won, did what he's supposed to do. He's a belt holder. I think Fundora may be thinking, hold on now. everybody's talking about Crawford in his 154. I hold a belt too now. Don't forget about me. So I think he may have that chip on his shoulder that he wants to do some things. Errol Spence, brother, did not look good in his last. Still, nothing has come out, but man, he just didn't look like himself. Like I don't know what it was, but he, as in Spence, definitely wants to get back on the winning track. He definitely wants to show people that's not who I am. Fundora, he needs to show people there's other cats in this 154 that can get it done. So I'm interested in this one. I really am interested in this one. And this is one of the fights, just like Haney and Garcia, but this is also one of the fights that we're talking about. It's not a done deal yet, but that's something that's very intriguing on the 2025 calendar that we could have, and we're looking forward to.
Well, I think the interesting part about that fight is, I think that the chances of that happening are less because Fundora, why would he not want this fight?
I know.
This is exactly what he needs.
Yeah. Now, and it's this is definitely too me. Well, okay. Try to follow what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. You go by his last performance in Spence, he didn't look good, and it was against a world-class fighter, right? But I've got to believe Spence would be his biggest opponent to date.
Oh yeah, no question.
That's the toughest fighter he's had, right? So he, as in Fundora, definitely wants to show I can step up. I can step up with these big boys. I got a belt for a reason. Spence wants to get back to show. Because let's not forget, going into that fight, there were people that had Spence possibly favored Spence that he could possibly beat Crawford, going into the fight.
Oh yeah, there were people. Yep.
And he isn't Spence. He's come back. It was his own fault, the DUI, but he had a bad accident he came back from.
Yeah.
Didn't he have eye surgery or LASIK? Some sort, a couple surgeries had.
Yeah.
That he come back from. You know what I mean? So it could. Both of these guys have things they need to prove. Both of these guys have things they need to show. This is what I am. You know what I mean? So I'm interested in that aspect of it, and I think it'll be a good fight. Also, what I'm looking to see is if with this February 22nd fight, I got to look at as you said, the Benavidez Bivol fight.
Oh, the better you got better be a Bivol.
Yes,
yeah,
that's a pretty good card too, right? Yeah. If you're starting off 2025 with these two good cards, because February 22nd card is loaded, right? That's the one we got Dubois against Parker. Mm-hmm. You got Zhang versus Get. You got Shakur. And if Beterbiev and Bivol is good like this, fellas, they're starting off 2025 like a pistol. It's hot. You know what I'm saying? So this, depending on how this goes with Spence and Fundora, when it falls, when it's going down, they could, and maybe they're not sure if it's April or May, only because they're trying to get other cards or other fights on this card to make it a good one.
Well, you got that, but do you also have the aspect of what are Canelo and Bud going to do? Are they going to get it on Cinco de Mayo, or are they going to maybe fight at the end of the year? If that fight's on Cinco de Mayo, obviously I would want to move the Spence Fundora fight in April, maybe sooner, or perhaps later, June or July. But you don't want to compete with that one.
Would you want to be on that card?
Ooh,
no. Because here's the thing.
Interesting.
For guys like me and you, we'd watch that fight. If it was just them and 4 other fights with amateurs, we'd still watch that fight.
Yep.
But for the most part, Errol Spence needs a large audience, and he may not get it because Fundora, through a lot of, if you're not a hardcore fan, you may not know him, right? So those two alone may not know it. But if you put that as the co-main event or right before the main event, all eyes are going to be on that. That could be a business opportunity for both of those guys. So that may be something you want to consider. Because on its own, Errol Spence is fighting Fundora for the belt. How are you fighting for a belt? The last time we saw you, Jack, you got crushed. And Fundora, most people couldn't pick him out of a lineup if he was wearing a name tag. You know what I mean? So I'd like to see. Oh, that could be interesting. That could be interesting.
That's the only thing that would give him away. But yeah, he's plain looking guy. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, we're out of time. Thanks, Chops. Once again, love talking combat sports with you. Next week's going to be huge. We're going to be previewing fights. Can't wait to do that. Thanks everybody for subscribing. Don't forget to like the videos. Don't forget to check us out on the Roku channel for ESEN Network every Friday night at 10 p.m. Take care, everybody. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you for watching the Haymakers and Submissions podcast. You can find us on the ESEN network on the Roku app every Friday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time beginning on October 4th, 2024. Check us out on Twitter X. Our handle is @HeySubPod, capital H, capital S, capital P. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a single episode. Just go to your web browser and type in www.youtube.com/@Haymakers and Submissions podcast, as we will drop content weekly. Whether it's boxing, MMA, or wrestling that gets you fired up, you'll get all you need right here at the Haymakers and Submissions podcast.